Is it not clear? My audio is not clear?
We can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So so whenever we speak about animals, the first thing that comes to our mind is dogs, cats. So there is also a section of animals that are almost forgotten by a lot of people, but they go through a lot of suffering. And yeah, we are going to speak about that section of animals that people always tend to ignore and don't even consider as animals. So let's take an example. Just imagine that you're walking down the street, and you see a dog that is injured, a dog or a cat that is injured and lying on the street. So what is the first thing that, like, when we see that, you don't even have to be somebody who loves animals, or you don't have to be someone who feels for animals, but you suddenly see a dog or a cat and it's injured, you feel that you should do something. You might put up a post on social media, you might try to get a contact of some person who works in animal welfare, any rescuer, and you will try, like, even if you can't personally do it, you feel sad that you see this animal in suffering. But just imagine that the same person is walking down the street and you see a vehicle going past, and this vehicle is stuffed with animals that are being taken for slaughter. It might be chickens, it might be cattle, it might be pigs. So this same person who felt like sad at seeing the plight of a dog or a cat suffering will just see this vehicle going past and turn the other way. So this is, we cannot blame this person for doing that. Like you, me, we cannot blame anybody for doing it, because that is how we have always been conditioned. Like right from the very small age, like when we start going to school, I'm sure all of you have learned in your science textbooks that cow gives us milk and meat, hen gives us eggs and meat. So it's all, and cow gives us leather. So we are taught from a very young age that these animals actually serve a purpose in giving some parts of their body or giving parts of their fluid to humans. So that is their only purpose in life. So this conditioning is done into our minds from a very young age. And what happens is that when we see these animals suffering, it is always like that is how it is. That is what comes into our mind. We never see it as something that is wrong. We never feel that this is something that is bad happening, or can't we do some change in it. And for this change to happen, it doesn't need that you have to like stop eating meat all of a sudden, or you don't have to go immediately vegetarian. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of small individual things that each person, even a non-vegetarian, can do so that the lives of these animals are not in suffering as it is right now. So the thing is, we basically don't even consider them as animals. They are considered as things, as commodities. And as soon as their purpose, their particular purpose in life is served, so what is the purpose of a cow? To give milk and meat. What is the purpose of a hen? To lay eggs. So once the hen can't lay eggs anymore, there is no purpose left in the hen's life. So that is the way that people all over the world actually view farm animals. So when you consider as a whole the amount of suffering that animals face in this world, like the suffering of farm animals is way higher than any other animal suffering, be it in labs, be it animal cruelty cases or wildlife, whatever. The suffering of farm animals always tops. So I'd like to move on to the presentation. Sai, can you just start with the first slide?
Yes.
So this is why, like me personally, I am working for the farm animal protection, because very less people actually are there to speak for farm animals. So it is very important to make their voices heard. So welcome, and let's start the first slide. This is my NGO. So we are Humane Society International, and our motto is celebrating animals. So our motto is celebrating animals and confronting cruelty worldwide. So that's our logo. And next slide, sir. Yeah, so it is in our fundamental duties. So what people forget is like, uh, we see that during environmental day, students plant, people encourage students to plant saplings. We take the picture, we post it on social media, but we fail to understand that the environment or environment day or what the nature that surrounds us is not just the trees that surround us or the plants. We forget that there is also a lot of living creatures that live amongst us that require this compassion. So the fundamental duties, actually in the Constitution of India, it states that every citizen of India has to protect, improve the natural environment, and also have compassion. So that last line is very important, to have compassion for all living creatures. So unfortunately, this is what we tend to not to forget, I guess. We know that this is there, but it's something that always gets ignored. Next slide, sir. Yeah, so what are farm animals? So like I said, when we look at the definition of farm animals, we see that farm animals are always, they serve a purpose. So we fail to understand that farm animals, they themselves have a reason to live. They have, like, they give birth to they have babies, they feel pain, they have their own life. But instead of that, we have reduced them to commodities. So farm animals are kept for agriculture purposes. They include domesticated animals such as cows, chickens, pigs, buffaloes that are raised in intensive confinement. So I would like all of you to remember this word, intensive confinement, to produce something of value to humans such as milk, eggs, wool, meat. So that is their purpose, that is their definition. But let us see something that is apart from this definition. What are farm animals? Let's go to the next slide. So there is something called natural behavior. So we know what is our natural behavior. Like each of us have different natural behaviors. I'm sure that my natural behavior is different from all of you who are watching. But basically, as like we have what are like humans' natural behavior. We need space. We need food to survive. We do a lot of things naturally. Like when I am in my free space, when I'm at home, I have a lot of things that I do naturally, which I will not be able to do if I am confined. Like if I'm naturally, I like to go shopping. I like to go meet my friends. I'm on the call. I take classes for students. This is my work. This is my job. But imagine that I'm put into prison or I'm put into confinement where I'm not able to do any of the things that I do naturally. So that so the same similarly for farm animals, there are a lot of natural behaviors. So let's see the natural behaviors of chickens. The next slide. So these are the natural behaviors that you see in chickens. Like if you have a chicken, you are having chickens in your home and they are free to roam around. These are the things that they naturally do. They do roosting, they do dust bathing, they do perching, nesting, foraging. So you can see those pictures. So you might have seen these hens rolling in the mud. They like rolling around. They lay eggs. They like nesting on the eggs. They perch. They are birds. I'm sure all of you know that chickens are birds. So they like perching and bird-like behavior. They can't fly, but still they have a lot of bird behaviors like nesting and perching. And they forage for food. You've seen these chickens pecking on the ground. They'll be searching for tiny earthworms and tiny insects. So they do foraging for food. These are all natural chicken behaviors. The next slide. So for cattle, so what are the natural behaviors of cattle? Cattle do things like grazing, ruminating, resting. They care for their young ones. Cattle have leadership and hierarchy. Like there will be one leader of the pack, leader of the herd, and there's like a hierarchy. Like there's set of like who's on top. So they have these behaviors like same like human beings. They have friendship. Cattles, they form very good bonds. You can actually see videos. There is a YouTube channel called Dodo. I'm sure most of you might have heard of the Dodo. And if you actually go and search, you will see a lot of videos where you see cattle having friendship and like the bond that a cattle mother forms to its young one is just like a human mother child bond. So they care for their young ones. And when these mother cattle are taken, like when the child is separated, you will even see these cattle shedding tears, and like they run behind the mother runs behind the baby. So they have a lot of emotions, and this is all part of being sentient. They are sentient creatures that feel emotions. They have emotions. They feel pain. They feel fear. They are scared. They feel fear, just like if you are sitting alone in a dark room and you are feeling scared. Similarly, they feel scared. They know pain. They feel pain. So this is all part of being sentient beings. It's called sentience. The next slide. So, pigs. Pigs, unfortunately, are one of the most misunderstood animals, I feel, on this planet, because it's also used as a word of abuse. People abuse each other, calling them pigs, and pigs are considered extremely dirty animals. So, if you want to say that somebody is dirty, you would call them like, "Don't be like a pig, you're dirty." But like aside from that, actually, people fail to know that pigs are actually extremely clean animals. They are very friendly, and they're extremely social beings who have a lot of love in them. But unfortunately, the way that they are always kept and bred just for their flesh, and they are kept in extremely dirty, unhygienic surroundings and situations. So they get this name that pigs are dirty. And if you watch Hollywood movies, you will know that you'll know the actor George Clooney. He acted as Batman previously in some of the Batman movies, and George Clooney actually had a pet pig. His name was Max, and Max lived up to around 13 years. Max died a few years back, and there are a lot of people outside India who keep pigs as pets. They are extremely intelligent animals. They have huddling behavior, maternal care, they do foraging, they have social feeding, rooting. So they are one of the misunderstood farm animals. The next slide. Yeah, so this is about the myth and reality of we'll be going a little deeper into chickens today in our session, because chickens are one of the most like ill-treated and the animals that face a lot of cruelty in our world. So what is a myth? So when you see cartoons and you see videos, you always get to see chickens, happy chickens, that they are running around on grass, happily able to spread their wings, move around and do dust bathing and all their natural behaviors. But unfortunately, that is not the reality. The reality is a lot different from what you see on TV and all. Reality, they undergo a lot of suffering from the moment they are born till the moment they die, or till the moment they reach your plates. Chickens go through a lot of suffering. So, yeah, next slide. So there is so this is how we have the two types of chickens that you see in your day-to-day life. There is this red jungle foal. So this red jungle foal was the actual, it's like the ancestor. So the red jungle foal is still there also. And trait selection is like a genetic process. It's a genetic process by which an animal is actually modified based on a particular trait. So people want eggs. People want a lot of eggs. So trait selection was done on the red jungle foal to create a variety of chicken that can lay a lot of eggs. So they are called the layers, the layered hens. And then trait selection was also done because people not just want eggs, they also want the flesh. They want the meat of chickens. So then this trait selection was done to get broilers. So broiler chicken is, I think, what you will be hearing a lot commonly or normally. And these are the chicken that have a lot of flesh in them. So these are the two basic types of chicken: the layered hens and the broiler hens. So the layered hens are the egg producers. They keep laying a lot of eggs because they have been trait selected. They have been genetically selected or modified in such a way that they can lay lots of eggs, and broilers are modified in a way that their body has a lot of flesh. I would like all of the students who are participating to keep, if you have any questions while I'm taking, please feel free to share the questions. I'll let's take the questions as and when you get them. You need not keep them for later. We will have a Q&A session in the end. But even otherwise, if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please feel free to ask. Don't feel shy, and it's fine. Whatever you have to ask, it's fine. Okay, so next slide. So we'll be going a little deeper into the broiler chickens. So what are broiler chickens? So like I said, they have been trait selected. They have been genetically modified so that they are fat and they put in a lot of flesh so that when people buy them, they buy them for their meat. So what is actually done is these broiler chickens. So normally a chicken that is born lives there are chickens that live even up to 12 years of age. 6-7 years are all normal lifespans of chicken. But what happens to a broiler chicken is that from the moment that it is born, it starts putting on extra weight. It starts putting on so much weight that by the time that the chick is around 35 to 40 days old, the chicken actually enlarges so much in size that it is not able to bear the weight of its own legs. So a 35 or 40-day-old chicken is actually just a chick. It's not even a grown chicken. But the heart inside is of a small baby chick. But the body is so huge that sometimes the heart is not able to pump blood to the entire body, and most of them, like, they get heart failure. So if you go to a broiler farm, you might see these chicken lying dead, like upside down with their legs sticking up. So this happens because their heart is too small to carry blood to the entire body. Their bodies are huge. They have cardiac arrest. And also you might see that in that picture, you will see that those red things in that broiler chicken farm. So that is actually these light sources. So they have this light bulb there, so to give heat. So what happens is all these chickens huddle close together to get heat and stay warm. So this food source, so they have this, there'll be like a round tray where the food is also kept. And in broiler farms, you'll see that these chickens always huddle close to the food source, not because they want to keep eating, but because they do not have the ability to actually walk towards the food source. So once they reach there, they don't move because they are unable to. Their legs are so brittle, their bones are so weak, they cannot move away from there, and they stand there so that they can just eat and continue standing there. And some of them even die of cardiac arrest. So they are trait selected for meat production. They are reared for 35 to 40 days. And yeah, once they are around 2.2 kg, they are sold for their meat. And these broiler chicken that are not sold for their meat, also they die within 40 days because they cannot survive more than that. Their bodies are trait selected and modified in such a way that they cannot live longer. They have weak bones and skeletal system. Every step is painful for them due to their overweight, and they are prone to cardiac arrest. So this is what happens to a broiler chicken. Next slide, Sai. So the poultry industry takes chickens to slaughter when they are around 6 weeks old. So that is the 35 to 40 day old time. So when they are like just 35 to 40 days, they are sold for their meat. And even if they are not sold, like I said, they die of cardiac arrest. The next slide. So these are you might see the broiler chickens taken for slaughter in these vehicles, these cycles or two-wheelers. They're just hung upside down and they are taken for slaughtering. The next slide. Okay, we are moving on to the layered hens. Does anybody have any question on the broilers? It would be nice if you have questions, because that means that you have understood and you have something more to ask. Either you understood it like totally, or you don't have any doubts. Okay, so we'll move on to layered hens. So layered hens are the egg laying hens. So they have been trait selected to lay eggs. So typically a hen which you keep in your home will lay around 30 to 35 to 40 eggs per year. So that is the capacity of a normal hen to lay eggs. But these hens that you keep in factory farms, in these layered hens, what they do is they are made to lay at least one egg every single day. So every single day they lay eggs. So for a year they lay around 365. They even lay more than that. So the amount. So what happens is we'll be speaking of something called the battery cage. So you might have seen these cages that so I was telling you about this vehicle that takes these farm animals for slaughter. So in these lorries you would have seen these cages stacked one on top of the other, and these uh, chickens inside. So that is the battery cage. A battery cage is around the size of an A4 sized paper. It's a metal wire meshed cage. It is extremely like they keep using the same cages for a lot of years, rusted cages, and the cages are stacked one above the other. So the fecus, the excreta of the chicken on top falls, keeps falling and going lower, lower, lower. So like all of the hens, all of the chicken are covered in their own waste, and that is where they are going to spend the rest of their lives. So the normal hens have a lifespan of 5 to 8 years, but but a layered hen gets to live around 1 to 2 years, and the entire life is spent inside the battery cage. So when we speak about layered hens, in a layered hen fact in a farm, a male chick and a female chick are born. So when a male chick and a female chick, the egg hatches and a male comes out and a female comes out. So a male chick is not needed in an egg industry because only a female is needed because a female lays eggs. So male chicks are a waste byproduct of the egg industry. So then what if it's a waste byproduct, then definitely they cannot afford to keep these male chicks. So what is done is in foreign countries outside India, they have these huge machinery. They have this machinery where these newborn male chicks are put into a tray where the tray keeps moving, and it goes into a grinder. So these male chicks are ground to death like immediately after they're born or a few hours later, because a male chick is a waste byproduct. And in India, unfortunately, because of the resources and because of the infrastructure of the farms and the electricity issues, we don't have these the grinder system here much. But then we have even more terrible ways of killing the male chicks. They are sometimes buried alive. They're sometimes put into boiling water. They're sometimes just garbage bags are kept. The male chicks are all put into the garbage bag and closed, and they are suffocated to death. So this is a hidden part of the factory farms of the egg industry that a lot of people, I'm sure none of you would have even heard of, or you wouldn't even have thought of it. So this is what happens to the male chicks in a factory farm for eggs. And the female chicks, what happens to them is, so the male chicks are all killed. So then we come to the female chicks. So when we were talking about the natural behaviors of chickens, we were saying that chickens have these habit of like pecking. They peck on the ground. They do foraging. So they peck on the ground and they try to take worms and things from the ground. So what happens is the rest of its life, this layered hen is going to spend inside this battery cage, a cage that is like to keep batteries. That is why it's called a battery cage, because it looks like a battery system. So because the hen is going to spend the rest of its life inside this battery cage, it will try um, uh, yeah, I'll get to that. We'll come to the disease part after that. 1 second. So, when the hen is inside the battery cage, it will try to exhibit its natural behavior. So, like, so when this hen tries to exhibit its natural behavior inside a battery cage, it is unable, because it is stuffed inside with many other hens. It is not able to peck on the ground. There is no ground. The hen is holding on to the battery cage with like the feet. Have you like you would have seen the feet of hens, right? They are very fragile, very delicate feet. So with that feet, the entire life it keeps holding on to this cage, and it's not able to peck on the ground. There is no ground. So what this hen does is it will try to peck each other. It will try to peck the other hens in the same battery cage, and it will injure, it will cause bleeding, and there is no facility to like see which hens are injured, which hen dies. So what they do is, these female chicks, as soon as they're born, they undergo a process called debeaking. Debeaking is a procedure. Sai, can you just go to the next slide and then we'll come back to this. I just want to show them the next one more slide. Just go to the, yeah. So debeaking is a procedure where the female chick's beak is kept into a machine, and it's the tip of the beak is cut off. So this debeaking procedure is done to all female chicks in the factory farm, in the egg industry, to prevent them from pecking each other. But what happens is, this is done without anesthesia. This is done, and in most of the factory farms, they do not even have this proper debeaking machine. It's done with just 2 hot iron rods, and it is done extremely unprofessionally. It's done, and it's not just 1 or 2 or a few chicks that needs to be debeaked. It's in the thousands. It's in like hundreds and thousands. So it's done extremely fast. Each chick is taken, the beak is cut off, and sometimes it's cut off too deep. There are like blood vessels and nerve endings for the chick near the nose. When it's cut too deep, it bleeds. Some of the chicks actually die of shock because they are so terrified with what is happening and the pain that happens. So they die of shock. And the rest who survive the debeaking, they go into the battery cage. Yeah, we'll go back to the other slide. The previous. Yeah. So no, one more back. Yeah. So they are the egg-laying hens. They are made to lay at least 1 egg per day, and the intensive factory farming cage is called the battery cage. And normally they have a lifespan of 5 to 8 years, but inside a battery cage, by the time like it's 2 years, they've laid like non-stop. They've been laying eggs continuously, and these battery cages in a farm, they're actually kept at a slant. They're not even kept straight, because when the hen lays the egg has to roll down. The egg rolls down into a tray. So if it's straight, it's not possible. So the hen is not even standing straight for the 2 years of its life. The hen actually stands in a slanting position, holding on to for its life. So, and due to weak immunity and overproduction of eggs, they suffer a lot of diseases like osteoporosis. They have burns on their feet due to ammonia in their feces. So that's what I said. They have their own, they stand on their own excreta as well as the excreta coming from above from the other cages. They spend their entire life in a suffocating and unhygienic environment, and they are not able to do any of their natural activity. So when you compare a broiler and a layer hen, the amount of suffering that a layer hen goes through is like so much more higher than what even a broiler goes through. But we think of the broiler chicken, but we feel that the egg laying hen, nobody knows of the suffering that an egg laying hen goes through, because we feel that the egg laying hen only needs to lay eggs, and laying egg is what a chicken does. So it's not going through any suffering. But what goes inside an egg industry, inside the egg industry or a factory farm for eggs, is extremely cruel. Yeah, the next slide. So useless to the male chicks, like I told you, they are useless to the egg industry, and they are a waste byproduct, and they are customarily, they are killed upon hatching. We saw the debeaking procedure, and yeah, the next slide. So I already told you about a battery cage. They are a housing system for primarily they are used for egg laying hens, A4 size wire cages, and the arrangements are in rows and columns. They are stacked one on top of the other, and yeah, that is where a layered hen gets to spend her entire life until she's not able to lay any more eggs. She just collapses, and at that stage you will see these lorries. These cages are stacked into the lorries, and they are taken to the chicken shops. And these layered hens are actually sold for a cheaper rate than the broilers, because they do not have much flesh in them. They are already like totally exhausted, and they have nothing left in their bodies except brittle bones. So they are sold for cheaper meat. Yeah, the next slide. So 46 crore egg-laying hens are there in our country, and they are spending their life in these cages. And I'm sure that even as we speak, the numbers keep going up and up as the population keeps going up. If all the male chicks are killed, how exactly do the female ones reproduce? So many. Yeah. So what is happening is, like I told you, it's a genetic modification is done, and the basic difference is the broilers, and there is also a chicken are also there. In the dual purpose ones, what happens is the males are actually raised for meat and the females are raised for eggs, but they are not on a large scale used in factory farms. In factory farms, they it's always either for eggs or it's either for meat, and hens actually do not even need to sit on their eggs to fertilize the eggs. It's not needed that they need the male present there. Okay. Oh, sorry. I will take their name. I'm just answering the questions that I'm seeing. From the next question, I will take your name. Yep. Yeah. Next slide. So that is about the hens, and we'll just go through briefly about the other animals. So the gestation crates in the pork industry is where the pigs are kept. So this is similar to a battery cage in a way that the pigs can either stand or the pigs can lie down. So they cannot turn. They are not able to actually turn. They cannot do a full circle. They can just stay in that same position or lie down. And even when they give birth, their babies are not even allowed to go near the mother. And like I told you, in the natural behaviors, the pigs are extremely motherly instinct they have, just like cows. They want to be near their babies, but the babies can just drink the milk of the mother. Sorry. Yeah, so baby is separated, and this is the gestation crate, and the gestation crate is not used you will not see it much here because only a few places use these gestation crates. You won't see it as commonly as you see the battery cages for chickens, but it's actually, the gestation crate is also actually banned. But this is the intensive confinement of pigs. And for cattle, the modern dairy farm. So previously, we know that when people have cows in their home, it's like few cows are there. People take the milk, and that milk is used by people, by the family members, and they sell the milk also. But when the population is growing so much, and when there is so much demand for milk in our country, just having few cows in your home or people having cows and selling their milk is not just enough. So large scale dairy farms are coming up and are there right now in our country. And in these dairy farms, actually, these cows are just treated as things. They are not given any consideration that they are living beings. Machines are used to actually take their milk. The cow gives birth to the baby. The cow never even gets to be near the baby. The baby is separated from the mother the moment it is born, and all the milk that the mother produces for the baby is with machines extracted, and that is what we are getting as cow's milk, mother's milk. And we see advertisements of the milk being representing mother child bond. So that sentence that we studied in school in small classes, that the cow gives us milk, actually I myself have asked this to my teacher when I was a student, that the cow is actually not giving us milk. The cow is giving milk to the baby, which we are actually stealing. We steal the milk that the cow produces for its own baby. So it's not that the cow is asking any of us, like, please come and take my milk. And at least that can be argued if it is in a home, like the baby also gets to drink the cow's milk, and like some of the milk is shared by the people also. But in modern dairy farms, that is not the case. There is absolutely no even thought of the baby drinking from the mother. The baby is separated. The baby is sold as veal. The baby cow's meat. Continuously getting a call. I'm sorry. Yeah, so the baby's meat is sold as veal, and Yeah, so the mother doesn't even get to see the baby. The baby is separated, and sometimes they even make a dummy baby. They make a dummy baby that looks like the baby, so that the mother is able to keep on giving milk. Yeah, the next slide. So buffaloes are given oxytocin, which is harmful for animals. You might have heard of this oxytocin injection being given. So these oxytocin is given so that they produce more milk. I'm not going into these details. These are like a little more senior level things, but you can how are pigs and chickens made? Legit Gamer has asked. So they are actually born. So that is what we are speaking about. They are not actually made. We are giving them a angle in which they are living beings. So like just like we are born to our mothers, the babies are born to their the mother gives birth. The pig gives birth to babies, and there'll be a lot of babies. But unfortunately, the mother and babies are never able to be together. So they are separated right at the moment that they are born. And in all these big factory farms, there is no chance that a mother even gets to be with the babies ever. Next slide. Yeah, so 29 million cows suffer and die in the meat and dairy industries every year. So the leather and beef are actually byproducts of the dairy industry. So we always feel that meat is bad, but dairy is fine, that drinking milk is fine. But actually the leather and beef are byproducts of the dairy industry. So the need to produce milk for the large amount of people, for the demand of the people, is actually what is is giving the byproducts of leather and beef. So it is the dairy industry that actually does all this cruelty on the cattle. And the dairy industry is something that people always tend to forget. We only think about the slaughter. We do not understand that till the moment of slaughter, like what they undergo in the dairy industry. The next slide. So when we started the talk, I had told you why farm animals are important. So when you consider all the other animals, like the animals used in laboratories, the animals used in shelter, the animals in clothing, in others, the animals that get accident and everything, you can see that in that the large blue box is the animals used for farming, the farm animals, and everything else is like, this is basically related to the amount of suffering. The amount of suffering of farm animals is so huge in comparison to the amount of suffering of all other animals put together, because farming, agriculture and animal farming, it is like taking over the world. Most of our resources, most of the forest areas are getting converted into agriculture land to keep these animals, to grow food for these animals. And the more the factory farms come, the amount of welfare keeps coming lower and lower. So that is why farm animal welfare is extremely important. Next slide. Yeah. So what is the effect of intensive factory farming? So factory farming has effects on animals, on the environment, on our health. So we've been talking about how it affects the animals till now. We've been talking about the suffering that animals are going through. So we will now let's see what it does to the environment and what it does to our health. Next slide. Can animals produce without a male? Yeah, that is what artificial insemination is done for cattle and all. There is no actual like male or female even being together. Like lot of cases, it is just artificially inseminated and they are made pregnant without a male actually being there. Yes, that is what is being done now. I just answered a question. Okay. So effect of intensive factory farming. So what is happening is consumer demands are going up. So then to fulfill the demands, the production keeps increasing. And when this production keeps increasing on such a large scale, what happens is the suffering also goes up. So the welfare levels are coming down. So we see that earlier on, like many years back, when these big factory farms were not there, like farming was done, like backyard farming was done. People used to raise chickens in their farm, or cows, and then they, at least, but the animals were able to exhibit their natural behaviors, like at least until the moment that they die, the chickens are able to spread their wings, they are able to forage, they are able to move around. But this extremely increasing demand from the consumer has resulted in large scale manufacturing. So instead of like treating them as living beings, right now they're treated as things, like commodities, that it's just like a Mercedes Benz show, like a manufacturing unit, where as per the demand for the Benz car increases, like large scale production, they are just produced on a large scale. So they are just considered as commodities that are produced on a large scale. And when this large scale production happens, their welfare is coming down, like these battery cages, and lot of infrastructure is there that actually increases their suffering. So that this intensive confinement is a system that actually tries to keep all these lot number of animals in a small area and make them give a lot of produce. So but that ultimately results in animal suffering. Yeah, next one. Yeah, so every time we sit down to eat, we can actually stand up for animals. And this every time we sit down to eat doesn't even need to mean that you need to be a vegetarian. You can even be a non-vegetarian, and there are things that you can do that actually make a difference for this section of animals, the farm animals that people always fail to even consider as living things. So there are a lot of healthy choices, healthy changes in our lifestyle that we can make, that any of you can make, and that will actually help and make you a part of being a change for these animals. So you will have a role to play in how you can reduce their suffering. So right now, it's not that like you can change the world in one single day. It's not possible that you can make end the suffering of farm animals. That is not possible, because farm animal suffering is so huge. The problem is like so huge in this world that it is not a change that can happen in a single day or even like a few years. But the thing that we all can do is at least make small changes so that their suffering, so we cannot actually prevent them from being killed, or we cannot prevent them from being used. But what we can do is at least we can use them in such a way that they do not undergo a suffering. Their living conditions are at least improved. The next slide. Yeah. So when we talk about the environmental degradation because of animal farming, you all know that there is like, what is greenhouse effect and all that, right? So when we speak about greenhouse effect, the global warming and all that, a lot of people fail to recognize that animal agriculture is one of the major reasons for global warming. So 23% of freshwater supplies is used to grow livestock feed. We know that water is very scarce in this world, and like very less people actually get even clean drinking water. There is so less drinking water available for a lot of people in this world, and they depend on these river water. They depend on like water that comes from very unhygienic sources. But 23% of fresh water is used to grow livestock feed. So 23% is used to grow the food to feed, not to give to the people, but to feed the livestock. And you can imagine that these factory farms, um, uh, Kalpana Daniel has asked, is there any? Yeah, there are a lot of laws, there are a lot of rules. I will just explain that briefly in the end. We might need to keep an entirely different section, like session, if we are discussing about the laws for animals and how each person can stand up for animals in that way. But right now, this session is more about how in your day-to-day life, the small changes that you can do that will make a change for them. So these people who do not get clean fresh water, what happens is they depend on rivers. And all these factory farms, like I told you, this animal waste, the excreta of animals, and all this is dumped into the rivers. And it is this water that is completely polluted that reaches a lot of people who do not have access to a proper water supply. So this, you can imagine how much unhygienic it is. And 14.5% of greenhouse gas emissions are produced by livestock, like ammonia, like methane, like 14.5 is such a big percentage. Actually, it is even more than the amount of greenhouse gas produced by vehicles on the road. We always say that use less vehicles, pollution, but we do not understand that animal agriculture and the gases produced by this livestock in these factories are resulting in 14.5% of greenhouse emissions. 33% of global land is devoted to livestock feed. This is a very important point that you all should keep in your mind, that this we are talking about hunger, about poverty, about world hunger. So there are like millions of people who are struggling to have grains of food for to survive. And in that scenario, 33% of land is devoted just for feeding the animals, for feeding the farm animals. So if that 33%, instead of feeding the farm animals in the factory farms, if that is used to feed these hungry people, it will actually play a large role in ending hunger and poverty in this world. But just to satisfy the need of people who are eating these farm animals, 33% of land is devoted to grow crops just to feed the animals, and these animals later are killed to feed the people. So what happens is a long double route is taken to feed the people, while this feed which is grown can directly be given to the people. And 45% of land is occupied by livestock system. 45% of our planet, of earth, of the globe, 45% means it is almost half of the globe. The occupiable land is occupied by the livestock system, and including the Amazon rainforest. Like even the Amazon rainforest is being cleared to make way for animal agriculture. So that is how much this farm animal agriculture is affecting the world. And that is why you will see a lot of campaigns going around all over the world asking you to eat right. If you go, you might have heard of a organization in India called the Food and Safety, FCCAI. You can go to their Instagram and you will see a campaign of theirs that says Eat Right India. So that basically asks people to eat more plant-based. So when you eat more plant-based, you are not only helping the animals, but you are helping yourself, your own health, as well as the environment. That is what is Eat for the Planet. And also United Nations, you might have all heard of UN. So UN is a very large organization that unites a lot of nations in the world. So UN has something called, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. Don't need this one. Yeah, for human, okay, so we'll talk about the human health also. So the consumption, you know that a lot of eating milk, meat and all can cause a lot of diseases like diabetes, kidney stones, and of course the most present one that we are all suffering from, the corona, the COVID. So we know that it initially came from the wet animal market. So the live animal market is one which spreads a lot of diseases like Salmonella infections, swine flu. All these come from animal meat. So in order to stay healthy, we know that like reducing our animal intake, animal product intake is very essential for us to stay healthy. Next slide. Yeah, next slide. I don't want the text to be healthy. Yeah, so this is what I said, that growing crops to feed to farm animals is inefficient, and instead that area, that land and those crops can actually be used to feed the hungry people. Next slide. Let's go to the UN slide. Yeah. So like I said, the United Nations has developed 17 goals. They are called the Sustainable Development Goals. So this UN goals are very important. So what UN has, their vision is that by the end of 2030, this is what they aim to. These are the goals that they aim to for the planet. That there should be no poverty, there should be zero hunger, there should be education, gender equality, reduced inequalities, life on land, life below water. So these are the 17 sustainable goals that the UN has developed. And in that, you will see that a lot of the goals are directly related to animal agriculture, like zero hunger. So like I said, if all these land that is being used for animal agriculture, instead of those lands used for animal agriculture, if it is actually used to raise crops to feed the hungry, it will actually bring down the hunger, like the quotient in the world in a large scale, equally with poverty. And there is also decent work, economic growth, uh, responsible consumption and production. A lot of these goals are directly linked to animal agriculture. Next slide. Yeah, this is what we said: peace, justice. These are all the slides. Yeah, so by 2050, if you want nutritious food for 9.8 billion people, we should start growing crops to feed the people, and like not think of it just as animal agriculture, where we keep growing crops to feed the animals, and then later those animals are fed to the people. Next slide. So till now we were talking about the problem. We were talking about what is the issue, and what the issues, because the results that come out of this issue. Now we are going to speak about the solution. So what is the solution? Is the 3R policy is very important in animal welfare. This is not the recycle, reuse one. This is the animal welfare 3R policy, where it's replacement, reduction, and refinement. So we will speak about each, and this is what we all as individuals can do to make the lives of these animals better. So when we talk about, we'll go to the next slide. So replacement, reduction, and can we go to reduction first? The next slide. No, go ahead once more. Next, next. Yeah, a reduction. So a reduction is something that we even encourage in schools that have canteens. I don't know whether does your school have a canteen? Can anybody answer in the chat box? Do you have a canteen? Can the faculty or any of the students just reply? Do you have a canteen in your school? Okay, I'll wait for that answer. So reduction is something where we reduce okay, you have a canteen. Okay, and does the canteen serve non-vegetarian food as well as vegetarian food? Do you have like a okay, so you serve non-vegetarian also. So reduction is something that we've been working in India, and like it's an like all over the world there is a campaign called the Meatless Monday campaign. So this Meatless Monday actually aims at something called reduction in the 3R policy, the reduction. So in reduction, we know, because like I myself, I like was a total non-vegetarian, and I know how difficult it is for people to make this transition. It is not easy that we just go suddenly to somebody and ask them, like, stop eating meat from tomorrow. You are doing a terrible thing and you're harming animals. Animals are going through a lot of suffering. You can relate to maybe people who love animals and who make the connection. But if you just try speaking and going and telling this to a normal person who's been conditioned from a very young age to eat dairy products and drink milk and eat meat, it's very difficult. But reduction is something that every one of us can do, because we are not totally stopping meat, but one day of the week, and we decide we do it on a Monday, because Monday is always like it's considered a good day to start something. So Meatless Monday is a campaign where we ask people to stop, to not take any animal products on Mondays. Yeah, so we cut down our diet on Monday, starting one day, and it's good for it's like a detox. I feel that it will be like one day of the week. If you do not take any animal products, it just cleans out your system as well. You get a total detox of your body, and it helps the environment, and it definitely helps the animals too. So we ask schools or colleges or institutions or any place where we take the class, we ask them that if it is possible, it will be a great, good thing if you can actually follow or commit to the Meatless Monday policy, where if you have a canteen, in that canteen you take a pledge. You take a pledge for the environment, for the health of the students, for the health of the animals, that one day of the week you do not uh, sell or keep any animal products. That includes milk, dairy products like paneer, milk, or everything. So that is reduction. And the next slide. Yeah, why Monday? Because Monday we feel is a fresh start. Monday helps people sustain healthy behaviors. So a lot of people feel that there are a lot of people who eat meat every single day and who consume dairy every single day. So it is like giving them an opportunity to know that it's possible for you not to do it one day of the week. You can try it other days of the week, and it reduces like maybe reduces your urge. It gives you like it makes you feel confident and good. On Monday you don't serve non-veg. That is very good, sir. But I think that you do like dairy products. We'll do it in our group discussion. Yeah. So like not just non-veg. This is also about milk, cow's milk, as well as like paneer or dishes that are considered vegetarian but still result in animal cruelty. So that is why it's done on Monday. So yeah, Sai, can you go back? We next is about replacement. I just wanted to speak about reduction first. Yeah. So now we come to replacement. So replacement is where you replace your regular like food, where your non-vegetarian food with an alternative that has the same consistency. Sometimes it has the same taste. Growing plants commercially, people will not let the animals. Okay, I the question went out too fast, but I will definitely I will get back to that. We'll just finish replacement and refinement, and then we'll totally do all the questions. So replacement is where we are asking people to replace. Like imagine that you are somebody who drinks coffee every single day. You want coffee, and you take your coffee with milk. So you are trying to reduce your dairy intake because of the sufferings that animals, cows, or cattle go through in the dairy industry. So you want to cut down. But then, because you're used to the taste of taking your coffee or tea with milk, you suddenly cannot stop it and go to black tea. It's so difficult. I've started, but it's seriously, you need a alternative where you get the same taste. So that is where these replacements come in, which give you like almost the same alternative, where like for milk, yeah, let's go to the next slide where we speak about the alternatives. Yeah, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So for meat, there is something called mock meat, soy chap, jackfruit. Mock meat, I don't know if you have heard about it. It's something that has the same, it's made of soya. It has the same consistency of meat. It has the same flavoring, and it can be cooked the same way that you make the beef curry or the chicken curry. And yeah, it's a very good transition thing for people who are trying to reduce their meat consumption and trying to go plant-based. It's something that will give you the feel of eating meat, but you can be guilt free. You can feel good that no animal was killed to get that. Same for milk. There is almond milk, soy milk, cashew milk, oat milk, coconut milk. Of course, I'm from Kerala, and coconut milk is abundant in Kerala. So the same, or like wherever you use the cow's milk, you can try replacing it with coconut milk. It gives you the same, like it might like the flavoring might be a little different, and once you get used to it, you don't find it awkward at all. For eggs, there's tofu scramble, mock eggs. For paneer, there is tofu. For butter, there's peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, coconut butter, lots. So in case the school is trying to like in case after this session the management wants to take the initiative of a Meatless Monday, it will be like I think no other school. You might be the first school, I think, in South India. Yes, this might be the first school in South India to actually take the Meatless Monday forward. And the Meatless Monday is not just for meat; it will be for milk, eggs, paneer, all too. And these are the replacement, because if you serve tea and coffee, you can do it with one of these replacements. So these are the alternatives. And the next slide. So brands of mock meat: Veggie Champ, Good Dot, yeah, Urban Platter. These are you can since your school is in Chennai, I'm sure it's available easily. In Kerala, unfortunately, it's not so easily available. So we are trying to get these companies to actually sell in Kerala too. So the Good Dot and I think Wesley, Good Dot is available on Amazon, so you can easily check out Good Dot. It's available and it's not too expensive. The cost is almost similar to the beef and chicken that you get to buy. Next slide. Yeah, plant-based milk. There's lots of options. There's SoFit, the soy milk, there's Good Milk, Urban Platter, Seta, Silk, the Dabur one. These are all the raw pressery. These are all milk alternatives for milk that doesn't result in a cow being tortured. Next slide. Tofu. For those of you who like paneer, these are the tofu. If anybody is interested after this, you can please get in touch with your management, and I can for those of you who are really interested to try out these replacements, I can actually send it to you separately. I can let you know where it's available and where you can get it from if you are interested in transitioning and if you want to try moving on to a plant-based diet. Next slide. Then we come to the refinement part. So we finish the reduction, we finish the replacement, and last is the refinement. So refinement is where you ask for better living conditions. You want to refine their living conditions, and you demand that you will eat meat, or you will have the eggs of only animals that haven't gone through suffering. So the basic one for that is ending battery cages. So when you go to a supermarket, you will see these white eggs. So they are all from factory farms, from battery caged eggs. So you will also see some eggs that are sold that has cage free written on them. So these cage free are actually part of this refinement, where the hens that have laid these eggs have not been intensively confined. They have not been suffering inside a battery cage. They are able to roam around the farm. They are able to exhibit their natural behaviors, and then they are able to lay their eggs. Those eggs are sold as cage-free eggs. So if you buy these cage-free eggs, you are actually promoting these chicken to be kept in good welfare conditions, and you are demanding that you will not eat eggs that come from a battery cage. And unless there are people come forward to do that, the battery cage system is not going to end. So when the consumers are there, definitely there will be ways to sell it. But when the demand goes down, then definitely this refinement will happen, and these cruel practices will come to an end. The next slide. Yeah, cage-free versus cage-free and free range. So when you buy eggs, you can see cage-free. They are the hens that live without cages, where they can roam around freely. Free range they live in cage-free spaces with limited space. That is free range. So there's cage-free eggs, there's free-range eggs, and there are also caged eggs. So the normal ones that you get in the market are the white ones, are like normally all are from battery cages. But you can definitely Google and you can find out. And Tamil Nadu is where the Happy Hen farm is there. Just go to the next slide. It's in Tirunelveli, where yeah, the Happy Hens. The Happy Hens is a farm that they sell cage-free, free-range eggs. There's Ayush Agro Farm, Kegs Farms. These are all cage-free. They have it written on their cover that it's cage-free. Next slide. We finished reduction by Monday. Yep. So yeah, as responsible, we can try these plant-based recipes. You can Google, you can find out recipes that do not use animal products. You get equally delicious foodstuffs, and you don't have to feel guilty about it. And also, if you are somebody who eats non-veg regularly and if you're not able to stop, the best thing that you can do for animals is at least try to reduce. And it not just helps the animals, it also helps your own health. It makes you more healthy, as well as it helps the environment. You play a role in reducing the climate change and reducing the greenhouse effects. It's You play a big role in all of that individually. So yeah, that's it. So our work. I have been working for this NGO for the past 6 years. I did my degree in journalism, but I've always loved animals from a very young age, and I wanted to work for them. And I never thought that I would actually work for animals, because people like animals and they take it as a hobby. But right now in India, there are a lot of opportunities where you can actually take it as a career. It is a career choice. And I never imagined, maybe like 10 years back, that I'll be working in animal welfare. But I was very lucky to join this NGO 6 years back, and we work for all animals. We work for animals all around the globe. And in Kerala, I deal with cruelty cases. I work for farm animals. We have been doing sterilization of street dogs, vaccination of street dogs. And like one of the questions that came, I also deal with cruelty cases where I go to police stations and file FIRs against cruelty. Yep. And those who are interested can actually, I have done a TEDx talk. You can just, if you Google Sally Verma TEDx, you can hear my TEDx talk where I'm speaking about the street dog issue of Kerala. And you can visit our website, which is www.hsi.org, where you can learn all about the work that we do for animals. And as you grow older, as you do your studies, if you are ever interested to volunteer, to intern, or to become an employee, most welcome, because there are like this is a field where we speak up for the voiceless. We are their voice, and especially farm animals are a section that needs a lot of voices to speak up for them. Yeah. Next, are there any more slides? We can. Yeah, we do outreach. Next slide. Yeah, that's it. This was the protest that we did in Delhi for the battery cages. In front of the Environment Ministry office, we did it, so that this is showing, like, this is the condition of the hens inside the battery cage. So we have the End Battery Cage campaign, we have the Meatless Monday campaign, we have a lot of campaigns. Next. Yeah, we do outreach. We take classes for hotel management institutes. We teach them to make plant-based cooking. We take classes for bakeries. We give trainings and workshops on how to make animal product free, like plant-based baking, plant-based pastries, cakes. So then when you feel to transition and when you go to your local bakery, it's available. You get a plant-based option. Instead of a cake that has egg and milk, you get cakes that taste equally good without using eggs and milk. Yep. Together, we all can create a humane and sustainable environment for the animals and for yourself. Yeah, let's learn to coexist. Thank you. Now let's go for the questions. And yeah, thank you, Sai, for presenting the slide. We will go to the questions, and I just need to take my charger. 1 second. I will take my charger, and can we have the questions right now? Yeah, let's have the questions. I will be back with my charger. Can we have the questions? Yes. Can we have Can we have the questions? Oh my God, all the questions are coming together. 1 second. I will just go to the chat box and yes, 1 second. Let me go to the questions. Monday we don't serve. Yes. Commercially, people will try to not let. Um, can we have the students actually come in who want to ask a question, and can they ask it? Is that possible? Because it will be nice if I can see the students also. Is that so? Whoever wants to ask a question can actually. Is that possible?
I'll be just sharing the Zoom link on the chat box where the students are typing their questions, so they can just click on that link and they can join in the Zoom.
Yeah, it will be nice. I would like to see them actually. It will be, I haven't seen any faces. I've just been talking and can they ask the question? Can I hear their voice also?
Sure. So students, you can select the first link shared by the organizer. Just copy paste in your browser and you'll be into the Zoom account. So yeah.
It will be good if I can like hear their questions.
Meanwhile, Kevin.
How much support? Yeah, we start growing plants commercially. People will try to not let the animals eat the plants. So yeah, we are talking basically about crops, and when we grow the crops are protected from animals, right? So that question was not clear. Can you just make the question more clear? Like people do not allow animals to eat their crops, right?
He's trying to ask if we grow plants commercially, then due to business, animals won't get that plant to be eaten, so they are shooed away. You're not supposed to eat this plant because it is ours, so we are selling this. So and again, the animals are dying out of starvation. So there's Amira
Okay.
Rahim who's joining in. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Is she online?
She's joining yet.
Was my communication clear? Like, I hope I was able to, like, was the presentation clear to everybody? Since I went on speaking and I couldn't see the reaction of the students.
I guess there's some trouble with the student Amira. It says it's still joining. Yeah, she's here. No, she left.
Okay, so yeah, no problem. If it's difficult, you can just continue in the chat box itself. So yeah, so I will try to answer that the best that I can, because the animals are already being grown for their flesh and meat. People will definitely give them food. They're not going to let them just like not feed them or anything. Ultimately, it will result in that farmer losing his investment. So every farm animal is basically an investment for the person who is buying it, and they will do their best until the animal is not able to give its produce, or until the animal is not able to lay eggs, or until the animal is not able to give milk. The animal will then definitely the animal will be sold for slaughter, and that is what always happens. And until then, like, they will give the animal food because they want the animal survival is important for them to continue making their money. So there is, as long as it's an investment for somebody, they will continue to give the food. Even if they cultivate plants also, the plants cultivated or whatever will not affect them feeding the animals, because it is an investment for them. Yes, definitely. Not the entire PPT presentation, but I will, who asked that question? 1 second. Yeah, Kalpana Daniels. Yeah, so I will share a synopsis of this presentation with your teachers, so then you can, it is it's a PDF. Either as a PDF or a Word document, I will share it. So then definitely you can go through. But like, I would like to ask all of you, like, how do you feel about Meatless Mondays? Do you feel that you can actually try it out? Do you think it's too difficult to try it out, or do you think it's possible? Even in your canteen, that I'm happy that Shivkumar sir said that you don't serve meat on Mondays, but you do serve dairy, right, sir? Like, there is milk and milk products also.
Yeah, we do.
So yeah, so if like, actually it will be like you will be joining one of the like largest campaigns in the world. This Meatless Monday is followed all over the world, and it is just gaining momentum right now in it's gaining momentum in India recently, and South India unfortunately is like a little behind all this, but other places it's even my colleagues have been able to conduct a lot of classes outside in North and all, and they have been able to convince a lot of schools and colleges to do it. But if you look at the consumption level, like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, we are the non-vegetarian states of India. We have around only 3% of vegetarian population. And it is because here, especially in Kerala, here fish is like a staple food. Like, everybody eats fish. It's very cheaply available, and a lot of people eat it. And like, if you go to a normal household and ask them to to stop eating, it is absolutely impossible for them. But reduction is something that is possible, I feel, for everybody. And it helps reduce all this disease that people get from these zoonotic diseases that people get from animals. And when we talk about welfare, like, whenever anybody talks about welfare, it's always about these companion animals like dogs or cats. And this farm animal is an animal that always gets neglected and forgotten in our society. So speaking up for farm animals usually makes you like an outcast, an outsider. But times are changing a lot, and all of you might be cricket fans, like the boys and the girls, I'm sure. And Virat Kohli, you all might be knowing, Virat Kohli has decided to go totally plant-based. He follows a plant-based diet. And if you are fans of Genelia and Ritesh Deshmukh, they've started their own plant-based company that manufacture and produce these mock meats and plant-based replacements. So change is coming. A lot of people around the world are Virat Kohli did it for his health as well as for the animals. People do it for different reasons. Like, if I did it for animals, somebody else might do it for their health. Somebody might do it for the environment. So there are different reasons and options, and it is in our hands whether we want to make the change. And even you might think that one day if I don't eat, what difference is it going to make? But that one day will make a lot of difference. And whenever you start noticing this, like, start noticing and feeling things around you. Like, compassion is something that has to come from within. Nobody can force you to be compassionate. Like, it's not like maybe somebody can force you to study maths, and even if you don't like the subject, maybe if you have a good teacher, you can like start loving the subject and you can become good in it. But I feel that compassion, even if you have a good teacher, and basically it has to come from within. You have to start making the connection. You have to understand that there are other beings in this world apart from us. We are not the center of the universe. We are not the center of everything. And this COVID and this corona and lockdown time has taught all of us very big lessons in life of not taking things for granted. Because we always, little things in life, we feel that, like being able to go out, being able to go for a movie, going to a cinema theater, going to the mall. Like, these are all very common things that we were able to do, like, very normally in life. And suddenly, when we were not able to do it, we felt intensive. We were in confinement. We felt like my video is lagging. Okay. So we felt that we are intensively confined, and we felt the same that these chickens are feeling inside the battery cage. We felt suffocated. We felt that we are not able to go out. We are being forced to stay indoors. But luckily for us, we have an end in sight. But for the farm animals, unfortunately, their entire life is in confinement. And like, we understood how to value these things in life. We understood what it feels to be locked indoors, not able to go out. So, like, when we come out of this, I feel that we all should come out as better human beings, not just towards animals, towards each other, how we can be compassionate, how we can make small changes in life. And if that one small change that we make, if that is helping another living being, just make that. It's not going to cost you much. It's not going to make you don't have to make much of a difference in your life. You can just continue the way you are, but make tiny small changes that will ultimately result in a lot of good. So, yeah, that's it. And yeah, do
Um,
we have more questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Actually, farm industry and dairy industries, they are $1 billion industry. So obviously,
Yes, sir.
when you are into this initiative, where they will suffer ultimately, what kind of repercussions you have felt? Some kind of threat or some kind of intimidation? Have you felt any kind of such activities?
Definitely, sir, because we are going against, just like you said, $1 billion. It's like a huge industry that makes a lot of money. But luckily, the governments, the major, especially the United Nations and a lot of other big institutions, they have start understanding the importance. And when we are not like immediately asking companies to shut down. Like, for example, if there is an industry that a factory farm that has these cages, we are asking them refinement. So it is not that their business is getting shut down immediately. We are just asking them to bring up the level of welfare. So we actually make them understand that improved welfare actually increases the production. So that is something that people fail to understand. Like, an animal that is in pain and an animal that is in suffering actually gives less produce. But an animal at the same time, if that animal is allowed to be in its natural surrounding, if that animal is not confined, that animal will actually be able to give more produce. That animal will be like, the worth of the animal actually goes much higher, as well as the welfare standards are increasing. And when more people start wanting more hygienic methods, when they want more hygienic conditions, when people start giving value on the quality of the food that reaches in front of them, definitely these industries, these factories have to take a stand. And it's not just about non-vegetarian, like any place, like, people have started understanding the health risks that they are facing. People started understanding that we need something that is, even if they have to pay a little more, parents want things which are good for their children. They want something which doesn't make their child get sick. They want things that are healthy. And when more and more of this, then automatically the regulations start changing. The regulatory, the like, there will be more inspections. There will be, the government itself starts taking stand and sees it that everything is done in a hygienic way. There is, like, conditions are changed. Right now, we see that it is extremely unhygienic. If you've seen slaughterhouse, you even been to a slaughterhouse. I didn't even go deep into that because, we are speaking to children here who are like up to 28, and I didn't want to go into the gory details. But actually, even if you go to a slaughterhouse, you understand there is this famous saying by John Lennon, who was the Beatles: if slaughterhouses were made of glass walls, everybody would be a vegetarian. Because if you see the conditions and like the amount of filth, the amount of waste, blood everywhere, definitely, like, it will be so much easier for people to stop eating meat. But unfortunately, we don't see that side of it. We just see the clean, dressed food that is coming in front. So we do not know what is happening in like the backstory of the food that we get in front of us. We never come to know. So we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible consumers. Like even if you buy meat, milk, whatever, we have to have that questioning ability in us. Like children, we have to demand that we need things that are cruelty free, that are hygienic, that come from clean surroundings. So having the government support is very helpful, especially initiatives like Eat Right India campaign. And if you go to the United Nations site, we have something right now called Act Now. It's a bot called Act. One second. Is my video getting lagged? I think my internet is.
Would you like to restart your video?
Yeah, no problem. You can hear me, right? It's fine, even if the video is not there. So if you go to the United Nations website, you can see something called Act Now, and there you can see like they've given 10 action points, action plans. And one of the one of the action plan is use less electricity. The other is eat plant-based, do not use animal products. So that is one of their 10 action plans by the United Nations itself. So like that is a big support, and when more and more people become aware, definitely it does bring about a big change. And we are not asking people to just immediately stop or not eat or anything. It's a slow, gradual process where you ask people to reduce, you ask people to slowly replace, and then transition. We have a question that I believe that quite a few people are reluctant to switch over to plant-based diets due to health concerns that some nutrients and proteins are not widely present in vegan dishes. To alleviate these concerns, how would someone switching over to a solely plant-based diet account for those changes? So that is actually a very wrong misconception that you do not get the nutrients and proteins. Actually, the only little deficiency that you have is vitamin B12 actually, not the other. And even for that, there are people who are entirely plant-based and do not consume animal products at all. And if you find that you are deficient for vitamin B12, there are replacements. You get medicines, you get tablets that you can take, that you can like these calcium supplements. There are supplements, vitamin supplements that you can take. But otherwise, there is no protein deficiency at all. Like the plant-based food is actually much more healthier. You do not have any of the negative effects of a animal product diet, and definitely that is why even people like Virat Kohli, who consider health as very important, have decided to go plant-based. So yeah, those people are very good examples that you have to become plant-based for health reasons. Let's have more questions. Do we have any more questions? Commercialization of plant-based foods have gained momentum. Joanna has asked this in the past years, which has led to a rise in price of vegan foods. Are there alternatives to reduce the price to make it available, irrespective of their economic conditions? Exactly. So thank you for this question. It's very important. And I understand about this price thing. And this is something that we all are working on. So mainly when the availability, like when the demand is less. So right now, very less people actually want these alternatives. So since the demand is less, there are less people buying. So the companies that sell them actually, in order for them to survive and in order for the company to at least have a basic profit, they have to sell for these higher rates. So when more and more people actually want these items, and when more and more people actually move on to a plant-based diet, then when the demand automatically starts coming up, definitely there a lot of new companies will start, and then there will be competition and the prices will come down. So right now, if you go to a bakery and if you want a cake that is eggless and you want a cake that hasn't used milk, they have to make it specially for you. It has to be made specially, and it's not in their like they might be making like 100 pastries, and in that if you want separate pastries that do not have these animal products, they have to make it separately for you. So then definitely more effort goes into it, more like work goes into it, and they charge more money for it. But if it is in a situation where it is made on a large scale, it is made just like they make, like they have a system where they make like plant-based items are also part of their menu, then definitely the rates are going to come down. So for this reason, we are working with restaurants all over India. We are working with chefs, with these hotel management students who are passing out. We are giving them culinary trainings. We are giving trainings to the bakeries, so then you have more options, and when there are more options, definitely the prices will come down. So this pricing thing is because right now it is the lower middle class people, it's not affordable as much, but it is like vegan products or plant-based products are more affordable to the middle class and upper middle class. So making that is also a very important part, like getting the availability for the people, and that is being worked on, and that there will definitely be a change in the coming years. So even like this Meatless Monday, just imagine like right now, if your school decides to do Meatless Monday, and similarly like 10 or 20 schools in Chennai decide to do Meatless Monday. So definitely for Meatless Monday, then you think of a replacement. Then you need replacement products. So like when more and more like people start demanding and buying these things, then companies start coming up that sell these things, and then automatically you see that there is a change in these rates. I hope I've answered your question, Joanna. Any more questions? Anything else that you would like to know about our work, or anything like you would like to know about about a job in animal welfare? Or Hasina has asked, can plant-based diet increase our immunity? Definitely, Hasina. So what happens is when you use these animal products, like I told you, there are a lot of medicines, injections, hormones, all injected, antibiotics are injected into these animals to make them produce more milk, make them produce more eggs, to have more meat. So what happens is, even, and also like I told you, these waste products go into the rivers. So even people who are not eating animal products but who drink this water, this contaminated water, these antibiotics actually reach into our body. These antibiotics reach into our body, and our body actually forms a resistance to it. So when you actually get sick, and you eat a medicine, this medicine doesn't have an effect on your body, because your body has already built a resistance towards the antibiotics from the animal products that you have consumed. So when you stop eating animal products, it will take a few days time for your body to actually detox and come back to its natural state. And then when you continue eating plant-based products, you definitely build a better immunity, you become more healthy, and you get sick less often than you are when you eat animal products. You like a lot of conditions like diabetes, obesity, cholesterol, high blood pressure, all of this are related to uh, animal products in your diet. Yes, Hasina, I hope you have answered your question. Do we have more questions? Please don't feel shy. You can ask anything on how you can make a difference, on how you would like to contact me after this. You're free to get in touch with me. I will share my email ID with your management. It's easy. It's just Varma, SVARMA @hsi.org. You can write to me anytime if you want to make any, and I'll be happy actually to take like programs in your school. Like once we finish the lockdown and all is over, it would be great if I can actually come over to your school, and we can all meet, and we can also conduct competitions. If the management is interested, we can conduct competitions like painting competitions on this subject. And I had shared a poster yesterday. I don't know whether you have seen it. It's for the students like from 6 to 12 years. We have a competition, art competition, that ends today at 11:30 today night. It's about our vision for farm animals on the 74th Independence Day of India. So that is a competition we have, and we can conduct a lot of similar competitions for students for the higher classes as well. We can have essay writing competitions, we can have story writing, anything is possible. So we can collaborate more. Any more questions?
Ms. Sal, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So, what is the ultimate goal of Humane Society? So, what do you want as the end goal? For example, you want everybody following a plant-based diet, and you see a world which is full of people with plant-based diet habit.
No, sir, no, sir.
Yeah.
So that is not the ultimate goal. Basically, is to reduce animal suffering. So reduction of animal suffering is the ultimate goal that we have, and for coexistence. So it is possible, like that's what I said, like in olden days when these large scale intensive confinement methods were not there, people still used to eat meat, or people used to have animal products, but it was on a controlled, it was on a normal or minimal level. But when the demand has gone up so much, unfortunately, the level of welfare keeps coming down. So as long as the welfare standards are met, it is, so that is the reason that I said that a refinement policy where people can still eat eggs. People want to eat eggs, they can eat eggs, but they eat eggs from chickens that do not undergo suffering. So at least until the moment that they are killed, these animals get to live normal lives. They get to live the lives of like these. They get the decent life of a living being, and they are not treated as machines. And also, ultimately, we have to understand that animal welfare and human welfare are very much related. And like we just like we talk about bees, the honey bees, the moment honeybees get extinct from this world, that is the end of mankind. So similarly, like we are on a large scale, this animal industry, this factory farming methods are using animals in such a large scale that we fail to understand that it is destroying us at the same time. The same way that the greenhouse emissions, the agriculture land being used, so our forest resources are finishing. So if we imagine, even Amazon rainforest is being converted into agriculture land. If the present demand keeps on going at this rate, by 2050, I don't even think there will be any forest area left in this planet. Like every forest area will be converted into agriculture land where animals are raised and crops are raised to feed these animals, and it's just going to be dry barren lands of lots and lots of animal agriculture. And it's like we fail to understand that it's destroying our environment along with our health also. So it's not just on the basis of animal welfare, or on the basis of a particular farm animal. It is ultimately the the people who are going to be affected is we ourselves. That is it, sir. Is there anything else the students want to ask about any farm animal, or does anybody have any favorite farm animals? Do the students have any favorite farm animals? My favorite farm animal is a pig. I love pigs, and I'm hoping like maybe sometime in my life I'll get to keep a pet pig at home. I've always wanted a pig. Does anybody else, any of the students have any favorite farm animals? Please do visit the Dodo YouTube channel and go through these farm animal videos. Then you will get to see how much they are just like us, and how they play, and how they, like, how the mother and baby interacts, and then you can understand like what they go through when they are separated. And like, we consider them just as commodities, but the feelings and emotions that they go through is will be very evident if you watch. And it's to make that connection. Once you make the connection, and it's not that like after this class I'm asking all of you that like you stop eating meat immediately from tomorrow and you are all bad people. Never. It's like how we are all like from childhood, if we are used to it, it's very difficult to get over it. But the least that you can do is at least reduce. So is there anything else? Any more questions? Anything else, sir? Are the students still there, or because I'm not able to hear their voices, it's I'm not able to see them or hear.
Joined and they immediately left as soon as I accepted them. So they're feeling shy, I guess.
Please don't feel shy. It will be nice if I can at least see you all, like see a few of you. If you would like to ask anything. Okay, if they don't have anything else, then I think we can stop. Is it fine, sir? Anything else, sir?
Thank you so much, Ms. Sally. And I thank you really for your time and effort. And I thank the Crowd Product, the Humane Society International, for accepting to do this presentation. Actually, I'm reminded of one famous phrase, the planet is not only for the humans. So we think that we are the only inhabitants of this planet, and we are just using everything else for serving us. As you rightly said, they have the right to live their life on their own. So I think the students would have definitely had a paradigm shift today about how to treat the other animals with the same respect that they are giving to the human beings. So thank you so much. And I think a little bit of effort will come from their side also in their personal lives as well, where like the Meatless Monday. Those things they can definitely follow. It's easier. So incremental steps will definitely lead to a giant change in the later stages. So once again, a big thank you for you for accepting to do this and for making the students.
I have a doubt, sir. Like, if I share a feedback form, like, can you ask the students to actually give? Because if they are feeling shy to come, like,
Sure.
ask directly, I can share the feedback form, and if you can get them just to fill it and send it back to me, it will be very helpful.
Definitely, definitely. Will be much
And
obliged to do.
does the school have like a club or something? Do you have an environmental club or an
Actually, we have an extracurricular club which has 10 activities ranging from yoga, photography, all those things. Environmental, I think we have a club based on environment as well. Yes, we have. Yes.
We have, sir. We had, sir. Right now, we are not able to. We even had the club where we were growing vegetables and all and selling to the community.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So basically, because I feel that there has to be something called like compassion is very much needed in children, because like right from a young age, when they are getting used to seeing all this violence around them and cruelty and violence, and when they grow up, it's like it's so common and it's not even shocking anymore. So when people see, like, even when you get these videos right now forwarded in social media, you see these videos, these cruelty videos. So what like we have to understand is like animal cruelty and human cruelty are so much correlated. Like people who start practicing this cruelty on animals are the ones who later do it on humans. So there are a lot of studies and research that have shown that children who grew up in surroundings where they've seen animal cruelty or they've been prone to do animal cruelty, these are the parents or teachers might not take it seriously because it's done on an animal and they've not yet started doing it on people yet. But it is very important to realize that these are people, children that will later on do it on human beings as well. And I can take an example from my own like my son's school as well. Like my son studies in 7th in Kerala in Thrissur, and like he is extremely sensitive. He's very sensitive, and he feels very much compassionate, and he cries when he sees like any being in pain. So just to make him cry, there are like children in his school who would, like, if there are some ants walking walking on the ground, these students will go and just to make him cry, they will just squish the ants. So these are all like even though we try to not talk about it or try to avoid it, this is the way the children are actually coming up, because very less importance is given to their inner, like to their compassion or to their spiritual growth or anything, because everything